Hello, I'm Bernie Norcott-Mahany. I work at the Blueford branch of the Kansas City Public Library, and I also work at Johnson County Community College. And through the month of April, I am trying to post me reading or reciting at least one poem per day. I'm also, if you go to the library Facebook page, I'm also listing a link and a recommended book of poetry per day as well. So um, the poems that I'll be reciting, they're all in the public domain. Um, and many of them are famous poems. Some may be lesser known, but they're all good poems, and good poems deserve a hearing. So you need to be able to say the poems and hear the poems. So that's why I'm doing this rather than just giving you the text of the poem, which I could just as easily do, but it would miss something. A poem on a page is not the same as hearing the poem. So I'm also hoping this encourages you, as I've said before, to pick up some poetry and to read it aloud. Even to the point of maybe memorizing some poems. It's not a bad exercise. So today's poem is a little bit longer, so I'm going to try to get to it quicker. It's a poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Coleridge was one of the pre-romantics. He and William Wordsworth were known as the Lake Poets. They lived, they had like a country home, not together, but they shared a country home in the country, the Lake Country of England. So Coleridge was someone who had a problem with drugs, and his most famous poem is The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which is a narrative poem. And the poem that I'm going to be reciting today, Kubla Khan, looks like it may have been intended as the beginning of a narrative poem. And the story goes that Coleridge was in some sort of drug-induced dream, and he dreamed the entire poem. He dreamed the entire story and the entire poem, even down to the actual lines. And that he woke up from this drug-induced dream and immediately set to feverishly writing down lines. But what happened was he had a visitor. Someone came to the door. Coleridge admitted the person. They spent an hour or so, maybe longer than that, talking, socializing. And then when he went back to try to get back to the poem, it had gone. He didn't remember anything. So what we have here is this poetic fragment. It's about 50 lines long. My guess is it would have been a poem probably like Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which is about 450 lines long, and it tells the story. And it seems like that's where he was going. So this is the poem Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alph the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if the earth in fast thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift, half-intermitted burst huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with amazing motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult, Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with the dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song, to such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, "Beware, beware! His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honey-dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise." So that is the poetic fragment known as Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And I will see you tomorrow.